so this week we're still working on the top portion of the full guard. Right? Last week we focused more on posture, position, and how to open the guard and a few options of passing. Okay, so last week we didn't worry about really defending anything in general as far as submissions go. So it was all basically posture and passing. Okay, so now we're going to talk about probably the most common submission you'll get caught in the full guard, which is the triangle. Okay, so we're going to go over a couple of different ways to escape the triangle if you get locked into the trap. Right? Once the person gets that full knot into the triangle, it's going to be hard to escape. Right? Like every submission, the deeper that you're into it, the harder this escape becomes. So preemptive measures, right, is the way to go. As soon as you realize that you're in a submission, you got to start putting those pieces together to start the escape. Okay, so can I borrow John, please? All right, John in particular has got an excellent triangle from full guard. So see how it works with him. Okay, in live drilling, get into his full guard. Not saying let him get you in a triangle, but you might end up there regardless if you're going with John. So let's really focus on these techniques and see if they work when you apply them. Okay. So again, last week we talked about really just posture and passing. Right. So having my hips underneath me, having a good frame on the person's chest. Okay, and having my tall posture right here. You can play around with broken posture. Right. I can have my head down and I can be framing in the biceps or framing in the armpits right here. That's totally fine. But for the most part, you want to have a tall posture to keep as far away from him as possible. That way his submissions are going to be less effective. Okay, so whether he sets up the triangle correctly, right, he tricked me, or maybe I make the mistake, right? What was one of our don'ts when we're in the top full guard, right? Don't reach behind and try to unweave his legs. So let's rotate real quick, right? If I use my hand and I try to get in between his ankles right here, and I think I can unweave his ankles, right? It's just going to open up the one arm in, one arm out scenario that is the triangle trap. Right? And then from here is where we're going to start to work, okay? So that's one of our don'ts in the full guard. Don't reach behind the person, right? The only caveat I would say is if you're standing up, right? And last week we focused on how to stand up in this position. Once we're in this position right here, now I'm able to reach back a little bit safer because I created so much distance between me and John, right? So generally when you're on your knees, avoid reaching behind. So there's a little, but you can do that, all right? But regardless, we're here. I make the mistake of reaching back, and he locks me into the triangle trap, right? So he's just got his ankles crossed. He doesn't have his angle created. He doesn't have the knot yet, but we're in the trap, okay? So here's where I don't want to hang out, okay? So I always talk about this. When you know how to finish a submission, we'll also teach you how to defend the submission, because all you got to do is figure out the opposite scenario to create, and that will keep you out of the submission, right? So generally, what does John want to do? He wants to move my trapped arm across my body, right? And then he wants to change the angle of his head to this side, right? Right? So if I know those two things, I know what not to let him do, okay? So in the flip side, so if he gets me the triangle trap, if I can keep this elbow as far away from the cross side as I possibly can, I'm in a little bit better position, okay? So remember, which angle does he want? He wants to get closer to my left leg to finish this triangle, right? So if I can create an angle where my right leg is closer to him, my left leg is far away, I'm less likely to get triangled, right? So I'm just creating the opposite scenario that he needs to finish the triangle, okay? So we're here, okay? So again, I pull my elbow back, and what I want to do is I actually want to frame on his hips, right? So this leg here is like a nice bar right across his hip. So I don't want to leave that hand by itself, so the other hand is going to come under, and I'm going to lock my hands together, and I'm going to kind of pinch my elbows together. What he's doing is just basically locking his hips into play, right? He needs movement of his hips to create the angle. All right, so if I can lock him in here and keep him square up to me, I can, survive, okay? Now, the next thing, I got to turn and change the angle. You'll know the wrong way to do it, because if you get here and you start to turn the wrong angle, it opens up the ability to get arm locked, all right? Or it gives him the ability to triangle me, right? This is the angle that he wants, okay? So once I frame along his hip, reinforce it, and I want to literally, pull his hips into mine. Right? I don't want all the space right here, because now my hips are not as well underneath me. My posture can't be as strong. Right? So I want to have my hips in. See how I literally, boom, I pull his hips into me. Now we're connected right here. Now it's hard for John to create the angle. It's going to be hard for John to bring this arm across center line, and this is where I'm at. Right? Good tall posture. Now here's the angle that I create. So the trapped arm, I want to actually bring the trapped arm closer to John. See the angle that I'm changing right here? Right? Now the triangle is going to be very, very difficult. All right? And all I want to do is kind of start to work to get posture, get taller. See how I can kind of work this up his hip line? And now I'm getting really, really tall right here. All right? You have the option of coming right up to your feet. All right, if you get up to your feet, it's going to be very easy to swim your arm inside, get back into his guard, or a better option would be to swim the trapped arm out so that now you don't go back into his guard, okay? So we're here, I reach behind, make a mistake, he traps. Elbow comes back, frame on the hip, reinforce it with the other arm, start to bring my hips in and change the angle of my body. Here we go. Climbing, getting myself taller. Okay? Again, I can bring the arm that's out in and end up back in his full guard, but why not do that when I can do the other way around? So I can bring the trapped arm in, and then once it reaches in here, I can do a couple things. I can frame off of his thigh right here and break that grip, and then I end up in this double under position. Okay? Right here. Or I can bring the arm out and then swim it underneath. All right, I'm still ending up in the same exact position. I'm just getting the arm that's trapped out of the lock. Okay? Very, very simple. Okay? Another way to think about which angle you turn is the arm that's trapped. If I can put that same knee in his stomach, it creates a frame also that I can kind of create some downward force, and it kind of reinforces which side I have to turn to. Okay? So if he traps me here, if I can turn the angle and I can put this knee right on his stomach, you see? Same arm that's trapped, that knee goes onto his stomach, same idea. I'm creating an extra wedge that's pushing him down, and it's going to be a lot easier for me to start to escape. Pull the arm out, and now I'm here in a nice double under position where I can start my passing right away or completely disengage, like I said all the time. If you're not sure if you have to pass right away, disengage, reset, and then you can kind of go from there. Okay? Yeah. And then I go to full guard, I make a mistake, boom, pops the triangle. Elbow comes back, frame on the hips, get my posture, start to turn the angle. Knee in the stomach, climb, boom, here we go. I'm pretty much out. Hand comes in, swim and face him, right from here. Again, I got a good double under position. I can start my passing right away, or I can decide to disengage, control the ankles, and then pass from there if I want to. Angle. Right there. I'm out. Right there, I can start to pass right away. Now I'm here. Okay? God bless you. Any questions? All right. Trapped arm. Gets the triangle trap. Frame on the hips. Change the angle. Knee right on the stomach if you like. Create height. And then weave the trapped arm out, and we end up double unders. All right. Any questions? Okay, let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3. Okay, time. All right, good. All right, so that's option 1. All right, if I'm able to keep my posture tall, that's a great option. All right, all right. Anytime, height is really going to be your best friend to defend submission. That's why I like to stand up when I'm in somebody's guard, because it takes away a lot of upper body submissions. Yeah, you can get into like leg entanglements and stuff like that, but for the most part, your upper body submissions are going to be gone if you can stand up. Okay, so if you do get caught in the submission, the same idea. You stand up, okay, and then create that space. So now we're in the triangle, but he's able to keep my posture broken. I'm not able to get my head up high. I'm not able to get that frame, okay? So now I gotta have a little different avenue to escape, okay? So a little bit this angle here, perfect. Okay, so boom, I reach behind, boom, he traps me, okay, right? The leg that's on the bottom, right? This leg here, his left leg, that's the one that's gonna be actually finalizing the knot, right? When John gets his angle and he cuts his foot across my shin, this left leg is what locks the knot into place. All right, so if I can focus on that leg, it's going to be hard for him to triangle me, okay? But I go back a step, okay? So let's say I get here and he's got my posture broken, okay? Now what I want to try to do is I want to try to get this leg flat on the ground, okay? And remember, he needs a bent leg to finish the triangle, all right? So if I can put this leg flat on the ground and work on keeping it as straight as possible, it's going to be hard for him to finish the triangle. Okay, so once we're here, he's got my posture broken. What I actually want to do is I want to kind of wrap this leg, elbow close to his knee. Again, same idea. He wants this elbow over here to get the triangle. All right, so if I bring this elbow as far as I can, and I'm going to hug his leg, now my other hand's going to come underneath, and it's going to reinforce it. So I have like a 2-on-1 position. All right, now what I want to do is I want to put this leg flat on the floor, and I want to sink my leg back. All right, see what it's doing? It's causing his left leg to be like straight. All right, so now it's going to be harder for him to get that triangle finish. Okay, this is where I want my elbow. The farther away my elbow is, the harder it is for him to lock up that triangle. And that's what I'm looking to do. Put this leg on the floor and start to sink my weight back in order to get this elbow far away. Now we're in the same kind of idea, except we're not having like a broken posture. Now same idea again. This arm that's trapped, I swim it inside, and now I'm out. My head's still inside, but again, it's no big deal. I'm in a good position to start passing. Okay? So this is a really nice one. If you has your posture broken, sink that leg to the floor and start to stretch that leg. All right? So I use my arm to frame on the top of his body, and then I use my hip to pressure his heel, which causes it to be straight. Okay? In the triangle, I'm here. He's got my posture broken, so I hug the leg, and now I get here. See how I use my hip against his heel, and I straighten out his leg. All right? The reason I don't want him to be able to bend his leg, because he can do like reverse triangles and stuff like that here. All right? So my goal is to keep this leg as straight as possible, and I put all my weight on that leg. Now he has very, very little mobility. Yeah, he can cross his ankles all he wants, that's fine. I don't care about the ankle cross. I care about him, creating that angle and making that knot tight. All right? So I can, again, same idea. The trapped arm, I can weave it in. Right? The hand that's out, I can bring it inside here to get back into kind of his guardish. Right? Or I can push on his hamstring and pop my head out and then pass from there. Okay? Right? A lot of options. Once you kind of staple that leg to the floor and make it nice and long, then you get a lot of options on how to actually escape. But I'm almost always going to take the arm that's trapped in the triangle and try to swim it out to a double under position. Here. Oh, shoot, right away. He's reaching for the head. He's pulling it down. All right, so I come here. Okay? Double it up on this arm, and I start to sink my weight down and back. Little by little, I keep trying to bring that elbow down by the shin. You see how I use my hip against his heel, and I straighten his leg out. Now I have like a splint, basically, against his leg. Right? It's not over, right? You can always continue to readjust. What he's going to probably try to do is he's going to try to reach and find this elbow and pull it. You see? Now he's able to start to adjust the triangle and finish it. Okay, so I got to really do a good job of keeping the elbow nice and far away. Keep that elbow far away and continue to work my hips back. And then once I find a space, boom. Once my hand goes inside of his knee joint, I'm pretty much out. And then I can decide what I want to do from there. Okay? One last time. This angle. That's the angle, that's okay. So I reach back by mistake. Oh shoot, he's got my head trapped. Okay? Hug on the leg and start to sink my leg back and hips down. All right, not flat, right? Because now if he tries to sit up and come up on top, right, it's going to be hard for me to stop that. So I want to have my knees underneath me. That way I can drive if I need to. Here we are. Boom. Swim underneath, and now I'm here. No triangle. Okay? Questions? Okay, let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3.